If you're a side hustler or even if you work a 9 to 5 job and you use Zelle, Cashapp, PayPal, sell things on eBay, Amazon, or Walmart, you want to watch this video because a lot of people are worried about this new 1099K IRS rule and if the IRS is going to take their money or not. So as I go through this video, I want to break everything down so you can understand it and use it to better empower yourself in your business as you go forward. So follow me on over to the other side. Hey everybody, welcome to the Finance Rebel Show. I am Kamari Ellis. I'm a tax accountant and I've been in the financial services industry for over 20 years working in tax, investment, and financial planning. And the whole purpose of this show is to really help folks to really elevate their financial understanding and increase their overall financial IQs. So today, we're going to talk about 1099Ks, right? There's been a lot of information floating around out there. A lot of people making videos out there. Actually, today, my son sent me a video, and I want to go through that and break it all down. And plus, truly get you to understand what a 1099K is, why it's important for you and your business or your dealings, who will benefit from it, who won't benefit from it, and put to bed all of the nonsense that's floating around out there. But as we get going, I want to go into this video real quick.
So much for that side hustle. Hey guys, breaking news. For the people who don't pay attention, did you know that starting on January 1st, our sneaky little fucking politicians snuck this one in on us?
So for the record, they didn't sneak anything in on us. Now, elected officials, politicians can be very sneaky, but on this one, the whole thing started with the American Rescue Plan that was signed into law March 11th, 2021. It's been publicized. It's been in the news. If you've been paying attention at all, you know about it. So they didn't sneak anything. But I know the videos have to add a whole level of entertainment, a little shine on it to make it entertaining and fun. But just wanted to point out the inaccuracies there.
It's a new tax law. It's going through the IRS, and they just love it because...
So it's not technically a new tax law. They did change some things, right? But they have been issuing 1090Ks for a long, long time. But let's get a little bit more into this.
As of January 1st, they're going to start issuing 1099Ks. What is that, you say? Well, that's the same thing as income. Yeah, it's
false. 1099Ks are not necessarily the same thing as income. Let's talk about what a 1099K is real quick. A 1099K is just a form. It's a reporting form for anybody that does business or transactions on an electronic platform. PayPal, Cashapp, Stripe, Venmo, any of those types, even your Amazons, Shopify's, or any of those will issue 1099Ks. However, it's not necessarily income. I'm being technical here for a reason, but just stay along with me.
Oh, it's like a W-2 almost. Yeah, so basically, if you take in over $600 on Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal, or Zelle, any of those apps, it's considered income. Here's the real stick in the ass. You go out, you buy yourself a nice couch. 6 months later, you see one you really like, and you buy that couch and sell your old couch on Zelle for like $600. Well, guess what? Whether you sold it for $10 or $50 or $600, and you use one of those stupid apps instead of getting cash, that's now considered income.
Time out. That's a lie. It's not true. Inaccurate. So this bill that he's talking about has a provision in there for that. So the only thing that you could potentially get taxed for, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the video, the only thing you could potentially get taxed for is if you are buying things for goods and services for your business, if you're selling things for goods and services in your business. But I'm going to show you the actual law. So just give me a minute and we'll get to it.
Wait a minute. You weren't allowed to write off your couch as a business expense to start with, were you? No, you weren't.
Well, you know what? I can't take any more of him because he tells a lot of lies. And I don't know if they're intentional lies or just lies from miseducation or uneducation, but nonetheless, he has a platform. He has a duty, in my opinion, to be truthful, honest, and to do research on his subject matter, but he hasn't done that. So that's why I'm here. So I'll do it. All right. So as I said, we're talking about, the new 1099K, the IRS rule, where the IRS is going to be having 1099Ks issued to people who have over $600 of activity, not necessarily income. There's a difference, but activity on these platforms. Again, Stripes, Cashapp, Shopify, Amazon, any of those where they do electronic payments or what they call third-party networks. This is where you will see people getting 1099Ks, but don't panic. It's not always bad. It's not always bad. So just hold on. So let's break down a couple of things real quick, because I want to go into where this came from, why it's important, why it matters to you. Okay, so I want to take a look at the American Rescue Plan of 2021. Again, this act was signed into law March 11th, 2021. So again, wasn't a secret, folks. It wasn't a secret. But let's take a look at this again. American Rescue Act of 2021. Okay, so here, when we look at this, here it says modification of expectations for reporting of third-party networking transactions. All right. And then it goes here and it lists out, where is it at here? With respect to third-party network transactions of any participating payee, if the amount with which otherwise be reported under subsection A2 with respect to such transaction does not exceed $600. Right, so that's where they made the change, because previously it was $20,000. So the IRS didn't require these third-party networks to report unless they were over $20,000 in transactions and had more than 200 annual transactions for the year. All right, but again, just wanted to go through that, right? And then as we scroll down, again, this is law. This is the law that Congress put together, that the president signed, right? Because all tax law starts at Congress. Here it also states that clarification that reporting is not required on transactions which are not for goods or services. So in the video we just saw, we saw the man talk about how if you bought a couch and then you sold it, and then you have more than $600 go through your PayPal, Cash App account, you would have to pay taxes. But that's not true. It's not true according to the law, because here in the law, we just talked about it. We just saw it. Clarification that's reporting is not required on transactions which are not goods or services. So those are the two main issues there. Those are the two main issues there. So everything we just went over just goes to show that most people don't need to worry about anything.
All right, so here's the deal. Everybody's making a big deal about this new law.
This was always the case, though, right? Whether the threshold for recording 1099Ks or reporting on a 1099K is $20,000 or $600. If you are in business and you're in business to do business and you're making money and you made a profit, you're supposed to report your income anyway. And honestly, it's not even about profit. It's about revenue or sales. So if you had sales, you were supposed to report. Again, just because you do not receive a 1099K or any other 1099s doesn't mean that you don't have a duty. You still have a duty to file. You still have a duty to report if you made money, if you were generating money. You're supposed to report this on your tax returns. So again, everybody's kind of up in arms about this as if the rules changed. The rules didn't change. The government just wants to know about more people doing transactions on these third-party networks, because, to be quite honest, before, only people that got to the 99Ks were people that had credit card machines and that did a whole lot of transactions. They had a retail store. But now everybody is doing stuff. So If you use your Cash App and you go to dinner or brunch with your friends, you might share some money. That's not a business transaction. That's nothing to worry about. If you buy something on PayPal for way less than $100 and it was a personal item, again, it wasn't for goods or services, there's nothing to worry about. There's no tax consequence, unlike how people are trying to make it out to be. So again, some people just haven't had a chance to either read through the law, which is very easy to find, or didn't really take the time to really break it down and understand it. So, that's just one thing you need. Now, I will say this. I know this, again, does worry a lot of folks. I know some people who do it, right? Or who are getting money and they're not filing their taxes. So if you are selling on eBay, StockX, Cash App, file your taxes. And the best way to go about doing that, because when you're making money online through these third-party networks, you're a business owner. You got to keep good books. So you want to track the goods and services that you buy to sell. So for example, if you sell sneakers, keep a listing of when you bought the sneakers, how much the sneakers were for. And then as you go out and sell them, you can, reconcile them together or cross-connect them back together to make sure you see how much they cost. Because let's say you buy a pair of sneakers for $100, you sell them for $120. You only made $20 in profit. That's the only thing you made. However, on your 1099K, it's going to show the transaction for $120, right? So the 1099K does not keep track of your profits. Your profits are what you pay tax on. So again, keep that in mind, right? Worrying about the 1099K, there is really nothing to worry about. A lot of the things that are going on out here are not factual. A lot of the things that people are spreading are totally unfactual lies. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Now, as we wrap this up, I want to know, are you an e-commerce entrepreneur? Are you using your Cash App or any other platforms to go out with your friends? Do me a favor, chime in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Kamari Ellis out. So long.